Hey y'all, welcome back to Homemade Simple. If we've not met before, I'm Lori. I am so glad that you're here today. I'm taking a little bit of a calculated risk by just sitting outside in the sweltering heat and risking the fact that all of the animals might just really be too loud. But I'm gonna hope for the best. I've been watching a new channel. I will link her down below, and she just sits out in her garden or in her chair in her living room and just sits and chats with her viewers. And I have just found that to be so comforting and relaxing. And so I thought today I would just bring you a quick update about our June budget and also a couple of things going on with our family, and just sit and chat with you for a little bit. So I hope that that's not off-putting. I hope that you can get a little bit out of today's video. We have had a lot going on, so there's quite a lot to update you about, so let's get started. I have a couple of notes here so that I don't forget everything, but first and foremost, June was a really good month for us. We got to spend a lot of good quality family time together, which most of you being moms and dads really appreciate that special time that you can spend with your family. It just seems to me that summer provides a little bit less chaos and more time to just spend together with your family. I have really enjoyed that, being able to spend some time with the kids and with Chris. We do have a lot going on. We have had several summer camps. One, Kelsey went all by herself, and then the second one, that was just a couple of weeks ago, all 5 of us went. We all had a really good time. It was a really hard, busy, hot week, but it was really good to be able to see our friends and spend some time with the people that we really enjoy spending time with but don't get to see very often. So that did have a little bit of an impact on the budget side of things. Whenever you're getting ready to be out of town and you're not at home in your normal environment, you just are really gonna have to spend a little bit of extra money. That did happen. It's okay. It all ended up really good. I'm feeling good about the budget. Another topic relating to the budget, I have sort of realized about myself that whenever I am a little less on a rigid schedule and a little more fluid on our plans, I tend to fall back on like those old faithful meal plans and grocery items that I just sort of feel comfortable using. I know how to use them well. I don't have to have a recipe. I can just have certain things in the pantry and in the fridge, in the freezer, and just be able to pull out whatever at the end of the day, or maybe if I'm really on top of my game, mid-morning, and just be able to quickly plan a meal without having to go through a lot of extra effort to meal plan. I know I tell y'all, if you're gonna save as much money as possible, you need to meal plan and you need to have a grocery list. I have completely not followed that rule this month, and so I'm probably going to pay for that a little bit in the budget that's reflected in these numbers, but really it's a good budget month nonetheless. And so I think that shows that if you can have a good foundational knowledge about things that you enjoy making and things that you feel comfortable using in the kitchen, you don't always have to be so regimented and so rigid about your plans and always have a 7-day plan ahead of time. It is okay and it is possible to still stay fairly frugal and just run into the grocery store one week, throw in stuff that are common everyday items that you're comfortable using into the buggy, and then going out without being afraid that you've just bought a lot of junk or you just bought things that you're not going to be able to use. I think the risk there is if you go to a store that's one that you're not really familiar with, or maybe is known for its loss leaders that it has on sale right at the front of the store that will get you in, but then by the time you get to the checkout, you have really filled your buggy with buy one get one items that you're not going to use and sort of is more expensive in the long run. If you don't do that, but you go to a store like Walmart or Aldi and you feel comfortable with the items that you do put in your buggy, I think that it's going to be okay for us every now and then to just sort of lay back and be a little more relaxed about our approach. I think that will be just fine. It worked out fine for my budget. So if you feel like you don't really have the time to be super scheduled or detailed about your meal plan or your grocery list, just give yourself a little grace and know that it's all going to come out okay anyway. Another thing, I said that I was going to try really hard to use cash. I'm not going to keep saying that. I just did not. I figured out that I'm just not the kind of person that's going to go an extra several steps to get cash to put in an envelope when I've got a lot of other things going on and a lot of other things on my plate. So I think I probably did say in last month's budget review video, I'm going to try really hard to go and get the cash. Well, I didn't. So I'm just going to stop saying that. I go to Aldi a lot, and my Aldi, I don't know about you in your area, but my Aldi has gone to a lot more self-checkouts, and so when you do the self-checkout, you can't use cash. And I will get halfway through processing my order by myself and then realize, oh, I can't use cash. So even if I do go prepared to use cash, I end up forgetting the most important thing, and that is you have to go to a specific register to use the cash. And anyway, it was not working for me to even try and plan for using cash, so that's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I did have a very exciting event happen at Aldi this month, and of all the times that I wished I had had my camera going at Aldi, I was moving my groceries from my cart and like doing the self-checkout, and I looked down and there is literally a lizard in my buggy, and I'm like, what do I do about this? I don't want to overreact. Lane wasn't with me, otherwise I'm not really sure how it would have ended up. I don't know if he would have really liked it or if he would have been really scared by it, but anyway, I was totally off put by this green lizard crawling around in my buggy. Sort of makes me gag to think about maybe it was laying eggs on some of my groceries, but anyway, we're not going to talk about that or think about it. I just went and told this guy, the worker, there's a lizard in my buggy, and could you please? And so he went and just calmly, he must have been a country boy growing up, because he just calmly went in and like picked it up and was holding it and was heading out the door. And this was the part that was so funny. The guy that was in front of me doing his self-checkout thing, had like this not very pressing question, but the worker was just standing there with this lizard hanging out of his hand while he like poked around on the computer to get this other guy ready where he can do his self-checkout before he walked out and let the lizard go back to living his natural life. I just thought that was so funny, because if that had been me holding a lizard, I would have been like, you're gonna have to wait, I will be right back. Not him. He didn't care. He just held the little lizard, and it was literally like wiggling around, and it was like nobody noticed that he was having to hold a lizard and take care of this other guy. Like, where is your help? Do you not have more than one person working in the Aldi self-checkout system? Like, I don't know. Anyway, that was a really funny thing that y'all probably just fast forwarded through, but anyway, that was a really funny experience to me. I've never had a lizard. I've done a lot of grocery shopping, and I've never had a lizard in my grocery cart. So that was exciting, and I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to share that visual with you, but maybe you have enough of a creative mind to have been able to see not only my reaction, but then that whole situation play out. It was really a unique experience. But let's talk about the specifics on my June budget. I usually try to do about $150 per person per month. That's pretty good. I think if I can keep it under that, I feel like I have really nailed it. And this month I did really good. So our food in June cost $584.93, which I think that's really good, especially considering we bought bottled water, we bought a lot of like body armor things, because we're in Alabama, we were going to be in a sweltering heat, and I didn't want anybody to be dehydrated. So I wanted to make sure and spend a little bit of extra that I normally would not spend, to make sure that everybody had the fluids that they needed, on top of the extra camp snacks. And again, I really a couple of times just went into the store without much of a plan. So with all of that being as it was and still coming in under $600, I feel like I am really making a lot of progress on buying less and wasting less. I think I have sort of pinpointed some of the things at the bigger stores like Costco and Sam's that I know are good deals, and I know that I can go and get them there. And then I also know what not to buy there, what I ought to buy at Aldi as well. I think just being a little more mindful every time I go to the grocery store has really helped. This also includes several trips that the family members have made that I wasn't a part of. I included those as well. And I think that they are doing a lot better as well, being a little more careful about the amount of food, processed food that is purchased. So if Chris goes to the store on his own, a lot of times it's just to buy like lunch meat and bread and fruit. Usually that's what he purchases, and that's really good because sometimes I need a couple of extra things picked up. He on his way home from work will just run by and get a little bit of that. And so I think we have as a whole done a lot better, not overspending but also not underspending to the point where people are hungry or people are unsatisfied. It's not fun to go through life not having food that you enjoy to have. So I've tried to be a little less crunchy mom about the things that are in the cabinets and in the pantry. I think it's easy for us to forget that our kids do like to have special kinds of snacks that are a little more kid friendly. So I've tried to be more mindful of that and a little more considerate of the things that they like to eat without just having a ton of what I would consider junk food. I know some people don't like that term, but sometimes there are just foods that are not beneficial. So I try to not go too far one way or the other. I tend to be a one way or the other kind of person, so that's difficult for me. But I just try to keep in mind that they do have specific likes and dislikes, and I try to, when I can, buy things that they enjoy eating so that they don't feel sort of unsatisfied or left out of the decision-making process about food. I do have a garden. I am working on my garden. I've not gotten any food out of the garden yet. I have gotten some food from other people's gardens, which has been really nice. I love it when people are willing to share with me the bounty of their garden. It always helps me to be able to have some extra food that didn't cost any money. That's always nice. My mom is cleaning out her freezer from all of her extra frozen vegetables from the last year or so, and so I have green beans covered for the entire year. I won't have to buy any green beans, and so that's really good. I mean, green beans might not be very expensive, but what she gave me was probably the equivalent of like $50 worth of green beans just at the regular store cost, not to mention the fact that they were homegrown, which I think really will be more healthy and nutritious in the long run. So I'm really thankful for that. I do have a lot of things that are growing, and for the first time ever, all of my stuff is doing really well. So I'm really happy and excited about that. I am working hard to not allow the weeds to overtake things. I'm doing everything, pretty much everything, in a container, either in a large, I call it a dirt box, a garden planter, raised bed, and then several things on the back porch we're doing as well. So I'm really excited about the prospects of having some fresh vegetables from the house that I've been able to grow, but we've not gotten anything off of ours yet. Still a little ways off, probably 2 or 3 weeks, and we will really be getting some stuff in. That's going to lead me to canning, which I'm still not 100% confident in, but you've got to learn at some point, and I'm just going to work really hard to not allow any of my harvest to go to waste. I want to do well with this garden, and I think I've gotten a good start. So I want to keep it up, and at the end of the harvest, I want to be able to say I did the best that I've ever done. I really feel like I'm moving in that direction. So July should be a really good month as far as being able to use some of our homegrown vegetables. I'm really hopeful about that. On to the household goods. Our total was $129.63. I think that's a little higher than normal, but I think $100 is just about where I'm gonna land, and so $30 extra is not bad at all. I don't know if y'all are like this, but when we go to camp, it's sort of like the reset for things, and so there was a lot of extra household purchases based on our needs that sort of became apparent because of summer camp coming up. So that explained a little bit of the extra, but also there were some health issues that needed to be addressed. And so anytime you go to the store to buy medicine, that's going to cost money. And I try not to buy like pharmaceutical medicine. I try to buy like herbal remedies and things like that. And so those things are going to cost a little more, just a little more than $30 a week. That's pretty good, I think, for everybody's needs to be covered, and no big thing in the household department. The last area of our budget I like to share with y'all each month is my animal feed. I do that because I know that I show my animals a lot, and I know that it's just sort of a question on a lot of people's mind. Well, if I was to get an animal, if I was to get a flock of chickens, how much is it going to cost? So I try to be mindful of those questions and just share with you my experiences. This month, because we were going to be gone, I wanted to make the farm as absolutely self-sufficient as possible. I did have 2 neighbors coming by, one in the morning, one in the evening every day. And I'm really thankful to have that kind of help. One is an older gentleman who's always willing to help us, and he actually bought some feed for the animals while I was not here. And then the other gentleman came in the evenings, and he actually has experience with dairy cattle. So I just feel like the Lord has blessed me so richly with the neighbors that I have, and I'm really thankful for that. I just feel like it is very providential that my new neighbor happens to know a lot about animals in general, but specifically about dairy cattle. And he's been very helpful to me. He actually did milk Winnie while I was gone. I was not milking her, but he saw that she really needed a little bit of help. So although I had started the process of drying her off, he was willing to milk her and helped me in that way. So I'm really thankful for that. I think I may have misplaced one of my receipts, so I just sort of estimated the 4 bags that I think I missed on my sheet. So in total, that $50 of hay and the animal feed that I buy at the feed store ended up being $104.53. And I can't remember month to month. I should like have a spreadsheet about this, but I don't know anything about spreadsheets. That's Chris's area of expertise. But I feel like that has more than halved since the beginning of the year. I feel like I was spending close to $400 on animal food and animal upkeep, and this month was just really minimal. And I'm really glad for that, because that's one area where I just feel completely responsible for that amount of money going out. But I said a second ago about drying Winnie off and not milking her anymore, but I did decide that I was going to wait to do that. And so I have started milking her again. She's fine. It didn't affect her any. She had a little bit of mastitis from not being milked, but that's very common, and she didn't have a fever with it. So that's good now. She's fine. I didn't even have to give her any medicine for that. So I think that me having a milk cow in my backyard and not getting milk from her, I felt like that was just a waste. And I have so long until she calves again, because she's not even bred yet. I need to get that done. That's on the to-do list, the memory to-do list. It's not written down anywhere yet. But I have so long. You know, the gestation for a cow is 10 months, and I just didn't want to go 10 months feeding a cow that I wasn't going to get milk from. So I just second guessed myself to the point that I just decided that wasn't how I wanted to go about it. And so I'm back milking her again, and fortunately, I guess this is a good thing, because it does take less time, less feed, and less space. She has reduced the amount that she's giving to about a gallon to a gallon and a half a day, probably about a gallon a day, which is really good. That's more than I need, and I'm still able to share that with others, but it's not so much that I feel like I am just really spinning my wheels and drowning in milk. So that's a really good thing. For $100 to have raw fresh milk all month long, I mean, if I never got any eggs, that would be paying for itself. But I am getting a lot of eggs. We actually found a chicken snake in our chicken coop last week. It was eating all of my eggs. I thought the dogs were going in there and eating it, because I've had the coop open so that the chickens could just free range, and I'm not feeding them at all. And except for the feed that the neighbor has bought, I'm feeding a little bit of that to them. But they're just free ranging. We've got 14 acres. There's plenty of them. There's plenty for them to eat. And so that allows the dogs to be able to go into the coop. And I thought the dogs were eating all of my eggs. Come to find out, it was this huge 6-foot long gigantic chicken snake that was eating my eggs. So I'm glad to be past that. That was sort of disappointing that I wasn't getting any eggs, but now they've started coming back. We've actually had, I think I counted 13 chickens hatched in the last couple of days. I'm going to make some shorts about that, and so I hope you'll check those out when they come out and are available. But that has been really neat to see. I love chicks, especially when I don't have to care for them. So for $100 for the month, having all of those animals providing food for us, and then we have the goats that really don't provide anything except a little bit of irritation, aggravation, and amusement. But they don't cost a lot, and they are friendly, and they make Kelsey happy, so I'm happy to keep them as well. Anyway, we have had a really good budget month. I feel like this has been a good month for us budget-wise. And I'm excited about all of the things that are coming in July. So speaking of July, next Friday I have a really exciting video that I'm really looking forward to sharing with y'all. It's going to be a longer form video. I'm going to bring you along all week while I prepare for a huge party that we have at our house every year around Independence Day. We call it 4th on the Farm. We don't always have it on the 4th. This year we're going to have it on a weekend, and so I'm really excited about sharing that video with y'all. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you will go and click that bell icon near the subscribe button, it will be sure, if you choose all, it will be sure and let you know when a new video is coming out. That way you won't miss next week's video. But I hope that you'll tune in for that video. I'm really excited to share it with you. I think it'll be a fun video to share with y'all, but also I hope that it is an encouraging video for those of you who are homemakers, who are sort of in the trenches every day but have some overwhelm or anxiety whenever a big event is coming your way and you know that you have a lot to do to prepare for it. So I hope to share a couple of pointers and helpful encouragement for those kinds of situations, and I hope that you will be sure to come back and watch that video next week. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I would really love to hear your comments and ideas about this format. I know sometimes I do just sit and talk, but I think I talked a lot extra this week, so I'm sort of trying to make it a little less cut and edited and a little more conversational. But just let me know if this is not the kind of video that you like to see and want to watch. I want to tailor the channel to you, the viewer, because you are the reason that I'm here and you are the reason that I do what I do. So I hope that you did find some benefit from this video, but be sure to give me your honest opinion. I can handle whatever kind of criticism that you have to dish out. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.